It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. Titans be back on the practice field today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Saw multiple players return to practice in a full capacity yesterday, including wide receiver Kyle Phillips, who's been activated to return off of injured reserve. Mike Vrabel, meeting with the media, was asked where he sees Kyle Phillips right now in his status potentially returning punts for the Titans Sunday in Indianapolis.
Well, just seeing where he is physically, making sure, that the route running and the conditioning, and have an opportunity to catch punts throughout the week, and we'll see where that is at the end of the week, and excited to have him back out there on the practice field.
Offensive lineman Nicholas Petit-Frere also returning as he's activated from a gambling suspension. Tonight, the 0-4 Chicago Bears, still in search of their first win of the season, are at the 2-2 Washington Commanders on Thursday Night Football. Kickoff is at 7:15. You can hear the Westwood One coverage right here on The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Right. Woo, Blade and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Buck Reising is leaving, but he's going to join us in like 20 minutes. So we have no idea where he goes.
Are we sure?
I don't know. Maybe he's got to get his beard trimmed or his teeth whitened. I don't know. We'll find out if he comes back.
Oh.
We'll see.
He said he has to do his skincare.
We can probably all use a better skincare regimen, I guess. We could take a lesson from Buck on that.
Or two.
So today, the the coordinators spoke, and it's interesting to listen to those guys. But, they don't want to say anything too much, can't give anything away, and you can't necessarily get too deep in the weeds with us. I don't think they want to do that. But occasionally, sometimes they'll say something. I'm like, I'm going to write that down. So Craig Aukerman was talking about Kyle Phillips. He said, big day in practice for him. He's going to be catching punts, going to try to simulate what he gets in games to make sure he's ready. So we were talking about this yesterday. If he's up, it sure looks like he's the punt returner. So then we kind of had like just a moment of speculation, because when you don't know anything about a particular thing, I think it's only natural to speculate. Plus, we're on the air with microphones and red lights in our faces that tell us to talk. So it's like, well, we're here and we don't know the answer, so we could speculate on who then is the punt returner, if not this recently rehabilitated physically Kyle Phillips. And so Craig got asked, and I'm trying to, for some reason, there were a couple of hiccups in my stream, and it comes up right there. It's like, so, okay, if he can't go, or if he has a setback in practice, because it's been a while, and we got a couple more days until game time and everything, and like, who else should be in the mix? Amani Hooker, he'd be in the mix. He's done that, and he's done it for us, and he's a guy that we trust back there, and we trust to make good decisions. And I sure as heck hope that doesn't happen. I never want to see him return a punt again. Never.
But that's not where he got hurt. He got hurt on kick, or you just special teams in general?
I think he just got hurt making a tackle, a hard hit on a tackle. Those dudes, 11 dudes running at him, if he catches a punt, are like, this is how I feed my family. And I know everybody feeds their family with whatever their job is. But they're
hanging on to the last string. Yeah, this is it.
Those are the people that Coach Mack's always talking about. They chum the end of the roster. Yeah. Those dudes know.
They know.
And like, hey, I'm a cornerback, but if they need another receiver because somebody gets hurt, they'll cut me and just let another receiver play my job. You get cut when other positions have nothing to do with you get affected. Like those guys at the end of the roster, hey, sorry, man, you're a great special teamer, but we're down to 2 linebackers. I know you're a running back, but sorry. And all I could think of was I hope like heck that just everything else works out and we don't see him catching punts.
Oh, I'm right there with you, though.
I know you've talked about this before. Like, hey, man.
I don't even want him on any special team. Hey, man, but besides, I think he's a personal protector. I'm cool with that on punt. But everything else, like, man, what are the backups on the team for? I have no idea. Now, ball security, and he has a lot of experience returning punts. So let's give him credit for that. So if he's back there just fair catching, make sure you get ball security, okay. I got you. Remember now, we're not far removed. Robert Woods did the same thing. And I wasn't comfortable with that. But they had no other options. So I think that's what happens is
just
coaches think about, okay, we want security and someone we trust. And whenever you're talking about the second option, trust comes up there first from a coach. And I trust Amani Hooker catching the punt. So do I want him out there? No. But if that's all we got and Phillips dresses and then it doesn't go well, then we got to go there. That's what happens. And then Robert Woods kept doing it the entire rest of the season for a long while.
I'm sure he thought, what in the name of
No, he was just, he's just a veteran guy who's saying, hey, man, I'll do whatever I have to for the team.
He did it.
Good dude. I mean, he acted like he had no problem with it. He probably volunteered. Really? And he did okay job. He wasn't great. He wasn't bad, though. He didn't have any dropsies, and that's what they want. I mean, for that, and Mason Kinsey did a great job. And to me, I started thinking he started gaining confidence as time went on. That last return, see what happens with the experience?
Yes, just some experience.
He's gradually said, okay, now I'm going to just make sure I secure the catches. Then all of a sudden he started getting, 2, 5. The next thing you know, the last one, he's getting 15 on a return. So, unfortunately, they may not need any receivers. And so, with Phillips up, and if it doesn't go well, and all he has to do is get hit on the knee. Let's just be honest. I don't know what the knee injury was. All you got to do is get hit real quick. Boom, that thing got flare right back up.
Let me ask you this, too. You're not the biggest guy, and your whole game is like, I can get 6 yards before you even know what happened, or 5 or 4. How many cha-chows do you have left if your knee keeps getting hurt? Your cha-chow count, runs out, doesn't it? If you're a quick guy with knee problems, you ain't a quick guy anymore. You're a little person who gets hit hard.
Yeah, it goes cha-chow to chow. That's it.
But that's the end for little quick people, right?
It ends pretty quick.
That's the end.
Yeah. And a good example is that, did he return punts here? Dexter McCluster. Yeah, he was a cha-chow.
Yep.
And as soon as the cha-chow got ankle sprain, no more cha-chow. Now you're a regular chow.
but not a big guy who
can withstand getting banged on like that. Now you become Derrick Henry. You have nobody like that. You become a big target because your quickness elevated you to a whole nother level.
Because every year I fall in love with some little guy.
No, and I do too, to be honest.
Well, I know you like Downs.
Oh, I know that, and we got Downs this week. Oh my, with the Colts. Oh my. Boy, you talking about knowing how to use a gadget guy? This is the chain mover, gadget, quick as lightning, great route runner. To me, he's just like Phillips. He just stays, so far, he's stayed healthy. I mean, it's still early in his rookie season.
You've kind of helped me understand the running back thing. Like when Spears got drafted, we loved Spears. We were watching Senior Ball highlights every day. I was like, look at that guy, man.
Oh, he's
look at that guy. And then everybody's like, he doesn't have an MCL and ACL. He didn't take the ACT. Like it's like every comment. He never was in the PTA. He joins the FBI. I mean, they were just spitting out letters he didn't have. And I'm like, oh, man, this scares me. And you were like, it doesn't scare anybody down there. If you get 4 years out of him, he wasn't going to get
It's that contract. Hey, man, you're very serviceable. And he brings a whole nother different level of skill set. See, you want something opposite of what you have.
So I'm going to start looking at these little gadget guys like, okay, just draft one. If you get 3 or 4 years out of him, it's more than you get out of a lot of people.
Yeah, and then some of them end up playing a long time and last a long time because they understand how they had to play to keep from getting banged up. Now, some of it's bad luck.
Yeah,
I thought the Phillips hit by the special team guy was just bad luck. I mean, the guy just dove and boom, right in his knee. I mean,
that dude hit everything that moved for 3 weeks of the preseason. The dude who hit him, he hit everything that moved.
Now I'm gonna say this: special teams is harder than playing offense and defense. When I'm saying this, I'm talking about the requirement of your body.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you are selling out on every single play to be a special team. I mean, my rookie year when I played just special teams, dude, I would come home bruises all over the place. When I played defense, no bruises nowhere. Mm-mm. No, I'm not worried about somebody blindside hitting me on kickoff. No, no. It was so much harder. Go bust up the wedge.
I was going to say, do you want to explain the wedge to people who are younger and don't understand what kickoffs used to look like?
I came to the sideline. I said, "Hey, man," I told Greg Williams, I said, "I'm never doing that again." I just thought I could fly. And boy, when it decided that I couldn't fly, that landing was not good.
people used to lock up, like even hold hands and form these walls in front of the guy returning the kicks. Now, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, well, that happened to me one time. I was like, I'm not doing that.
You tried to bust through that, like Red Rover?
Yep.
And they sent you right over.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it was. That's when I walked on and said, oh, man, this is tough. I said, I'll play defense all day long. It is hard, man, because you're selling out because you're not sure how long this is going to last. As far as you've been in the league at this position as a backup, because every year the rosters are churning and they're still bringing in new guys. 500 thousands of people are eligible for the draft, and if he doesn't work out as a starter or a high draft pick, then guess what? He's going to be on special team. And most guys now, imagine this. All the guys that are getting drafted, they were the best players on their team. They don't want to play special team. So guess what? I was thankful to get drafted, and I was like, special team, I do it, me. Teacher, you see my hand? I go. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Meanwhile, those first rounders, Keith Bullock, special teams? What? Bro. Do I look like I'm a special teamer? Do you see me? Did you watch my tape? He never said that, but he became very crafty, let's say that, on how to manipulate those special teams when he running down on kickoff and may like go run behind somebody else and then pick a boo, I'm over here, but nope, I'm over there. Yeah. Then
use somebody as a shield, then he'd get the tackle while the other guy got blasted.
Oh, yeah. Not even running down hard.
No.
Oh, man. Like, damn, man, run down. Why would I do that? Why would I run down hard when they're gonna block him and not me?
Right.
Yeah, he was very strategic. And it didn't take very long that they said, well, he is pretty good on defense there. Next thing you know, he's off of there.
You said something that I don't think a lot of people realize, and maybe they do. Think about everybody who gets a college football scholarship that you've ever known, like how great they were.
Oh, yeah.
To anywhere. Think about what a great player they were and how important they were on the high school team they played for. Division II, 1AA, it doesn't matter. If they got a college scholarship, think back like, oh my gosh, how good was that guy? Then that guy may just go and play special teams in college. Now think of everybody that you ever knew from your school or your friend or like Blaine's high school where all these people get drafted, or the school that you follow and some guy gets drafted and you think that guy's like DeMario Davis. I'm like, we didn't have anybody like him at Arkansas State in a million years. There's nobody like him. It's a miracle that they even got him, that they recruited him and nobody else did. Well, it took him 5-6 years to really catch on in the NFL.
To be a starter.
Yes, and he played special teams.
Linebacker all day long.
Everybody. You know what clued me into this? I was talking to this guy, Richard Williams. He used to coach Mississippi State in basketball. And when I was working at Arkansas State, he was on John Brady's staff, who'd been a coach at LSU. And we were talking one day about some guy they recruited, and Richard goes, well, he's going to have to learn his role here. And I said, man, I read that guy's recruiting bio. He scored like 27 a game, and that dude had like 28 rebounds a game. He goes, his job here is going to be block 2 shots a game and to get 6-8 rebounds a game. We don't need him to score. And I was like, gosh. And he said, look, man, when you leave high school and you get to this level, when you leave this level and get to the pros, unless you are the most special of special people, the most special of special people only do what they do. If they score, then they just score. We say, go shoot it 50 times if you want to. He said, most everybody else, like the bulk of the team, is a guy who has a role. And he goes, Mickey, think about every one of these dudes. You couldn't get a college scholarship for basketball unless you scored the basketball at every level. And then some guys come here and we say, hey, man, we don't need you to score. He said, you're talking about a guy like, Coach, I need to sit here.
Aha moment.
Aha moment. Well, same in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, hey, man, you go with special teams coach. Some dude's like, I never covered a kickoff, but I don't know what to do. Coach Ackerman's going to show you. Hey, man, he's about to show you what to do.
I was like, I remember when I did this in high school. So. But, in high school, I was a returner. So I was a returner.
No, I'm going to go catch the ball and run it back.
So, and sometimes that's hard for players to grasp once they get into the league, that this is your role. I always use Lorenzo Neal because, his humility. He was a running back in college.
Yeah.
The tailback. So he was the Eddie George, and he had to morph into, this fullback role after he had a little bit of success at tailback in the NFL with the
The Saints, yes. First few games of his career.
Matter of fact, I played against him, and I'm on the at that time the Oilers, and he ran through us for about 150 in preseason.
Oh, gosh.
But we was all looking around like, dang, man, were y'all scared to tackle this dude or something? And we had all kind of blown coverages and assignments because we were all learning the 46 defense. That was the first year.
Right.
And nobody knew what the heck they were doing. And he was just gashing us. I mean, like, dang.
We need to gash our way to the next segment with Buck Reising. He is either in the building or not. He will either join us in person or by phone. We don't know, but we got a lot of Titans questions and a lot to discuss ahead of Titans and Colts with our man Buck next. Blaine and Mickey 1045 The Zone. Our first guest today is our usual guest in this time slot, Buck Reising. It's brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, home of the non-commissioned salespeople. They've been selling Fords for a long time. They'll take care of your Fords. I don't know. Maybe the Two Rivers Ford are so good. Those people are so good at selling Fords, Buck, that they also reestablished the Kentucky-Indiana basketball series, which there's a guy in this room also from Indiana who loves basketball. I don't even know. Is this like Christmas for you? I saw you tweeted about it.
That's the only thing in my sports fandom regarding Indiana basketball that's brought me joy and basically my existence since the last time they beat Kentucky. So by the time they play between that Watford for the win game against Anthony Davis in, 2012 to the date that they will play at Rupp Arena in 2025, that will be 14 years removed from the last meeting, and it will be electric. I'm going to be there.
Holy moly. You would have gone in that time from like not driving a car to being a grown A person. I mean, that's a long time.
Yes. And, whether or not I still fit in the banana suit remains to be seen, but it will make a reappearance for the Kentucky. It is such an important rivalry that the banana suit needs to reemerge as well as the rivalry. So we're excited about it.
Appreciate the warning that we have gotten this far out. We can all plan ahead.
Why don't you be a different fruit, man? Change it up. Be a different fruit.
I think the banana, that's tradition, man. Tradition.
No. The efficiency of the banana suit regarding, one, mobility and some other, activities that require the zipping up of the banana suit. I think we can all understand that the banana suit is a very, very efficient fruit in that regard.
All right.
Oh, man, I wanted you to be, since it's October, why not be a pumpkin?
Because I'm already in the shape of a pumpkin, Blaine. I don't want to be more of a pumpkin.
All right, we have another. This tradition is being reestablished for basketball, but I do have a tradition of asking you now every Thursday, what's your current confidence level in the O-line? And I will follow that up with what potential changes might be on tap now with more options, more people.
Yes, well, I think by nature of there being more people, including most importantly, I think for this discussion, Peter Skoronski, I would say that I am willing to move it from a 2 to a 4 after the Cleveland experience. Listen, I still don't think I don't think they're in a good spot with Dillard at left tackle. I think that their spot, whether it is outright improved or not by the presence of NPF, it is an option at their disposal. I think that they would rather go to NPF at left tackle if they had to over Dylan Radens. I think that Radens right now is a reserve, and that's all well and good for the time being. But because there are physically more bodies available to them, I think I'm willing to take my confidence level up 2 spots.
You think Skoronski makes it back this week?
It sounds like it's trending in that direction.
Okay. Buck Reising always trending in the right direction. Joins us this same time every week from the install and the Buck Reising Show and the pregame show with us and many A to Z Sports and many, many other outlets where you can find it.
Yeah, no doubt about it, even with the banana suit on.
Yep.
Bucko, who needs to win this game more? The Colts, who are 1-1 in the division, and actually the Titans, who have not played a divisional game, which is 0-0. So which game is it? Which team is it more important to?
That's a great question. Given the gap between divisional games, Blaine, I'm inclined to say that, it matters a great deal for the Titans. Obviously, it's important for both sides, and the Colts having played and gotten a win in the division over the Jacksonville Jaguars is important to note here. But I do think that for the purpose of, trying to get yourself on the right footing where the other 3 teams in the division have already played 2 divisional games, I think that this is very, very important because their best shot at Richardson, health notwithstanding, would be earlier rather than later, at least given the trajectory that this guy seems to be on. It's kind of like the logic of it. Blaine, you may have better insight on this than me, but the idea of wanting to play the better teams early in the season before they really hit the ground running or before they iron some of their issues out, I think that logic would still apply to Anthony Richardson, who's going to be a problem either way. And, Jonathan Taylor in the mix is going to be interesting to see how they try and get him back up to speed.
Yeah, no doubt about it. With Buck Reising, the Buck Reising Show, naturally before the Blaine and Mickey Show, the B&M. Buck, I want to ask you this, because I was watching Anthony Richardson, and I go, wow, you could see the upside potential if he can put it all together and be consistent as time goes on and seasons goes on. Is there a player that he reminds you of potentially that he could possibly be that's already played in this league?
Oh, when I watch him now, Cam was just such a better passer coming out of college than Richardson. So Josh Allen was I think a comfortable comparison for a lot of people, given the unknown that he was coming. I mean, everybody understood the athletic upside. Everybody understood the arm strength, and that there was going to be a considerable amount of work that went into Josh Allen. And by the way, Josh Allen, while he looks great lately, beyond the first week of the season against the New York Jets where he turned the ball over 4 times, a lot of that stuff, it has taken every one of the last couple of years that Josh Allen has been in the league to iron some of that stuff out. And it's still not maybe perfect, right? Richardson seems like he's on a similar trajectory with a similar background and a similar skill set and mobility.
Through your sources, how much do you think, Jonathan Taylor being out and then probably playing in this game? I think he's doing a presser today. I think he's practiced or done the walkthroughs. I'm not sure. But how much do you, think he impacts this game now with him and Richardson in the backfield?
I think Zach Moss is still going to be the primary running back. Okay. But I think Taylor's going to get some snaps. We talked about it with Diana Rossini today, who was covering the Jonathan Taylor press conference from afar at the very least. He did make his first public comments today after not being made available on Wednesday after his first day of practice. He hasn't done a lot in quite some time. I mean, he's obviously been working out. He's been staying in shape. He's been healthy, it sounds like, for about, the better part of 2 weeks. So it sounds like as they try and get him into game shape so they can use him more, Sunday will be an example or an opportunity to more or less kick the tires on him and how much further they can expand that rollout after Sunday's game.
Has anybody mentioned, I guess, any players having any issues with them, not playing to this point? Because
with
of his
him not playing, you mean?
More so contractual issues and not actually the ankle.
It doesn't seem that way, Blaine, and I don't want to speak for a locker room that I don't cover. But at least in today's NFL, and maybe this has always been the case, but players are almost always willing, to an extent. Now, we could talk about this 8 weeks in as opposed to 4 weeks in, and maybe the tone of the Colts is a little different. I don't know if Chris Jones could have held out much longer than he did before things might have started to at least take a tone of, all right, where is this guy? We're all out here. This dude's sitting in a box watching us play the first game of the year against the Lions when we lose. All right, enough of the cute stuff. But I think most people are willing, especially with where the running backs are specifically, I think most people are willing to grant him professional grace in, hey, we know how hard this money is to make at every other position. We know it's particularly hard at the running back right now. If you think this is a strategy that you need to do for your sake and for your family's sake, then, at least the larger conversation seems to have been in support of him.
There you have it. Buck Reising from the Buck Reising Show right here on 104.5 The Zone.
Buck, you and Lucas had Denico on your show earlier today. That guy, he just goes out and produces year after year after year after year. He never seems to change with what he does on the field.
No, he's phenomenal. Lucas pointed out on the radio show he already has 4 sacks this year. He got a half-one back after he was robbed in the box score after the Bengals game, and certainly in keeping with the defensive line sack competition that they have going amongst themselves to kind of continue to find different reasons to motivate themselves as professional athletes do. It's a great group for him to be competing against, and the fact that he keeps pace with Jeff Simmons, I think is not really talked about enough, and that he is I don't want to say he's as disruptive as Jeff, because Jeff obviously has a physical skill set that, although Denico is impressive and has length and skill and speed to go with strength. The fact that Autry basically can go 1-for-1 with Jeff Simmons is not talked about near enough. He's arguably I don't think there is an argument for him being the second most important free agent signing that John Robinson had in his tenure after Ben Jones. But the fact that he is able to capitalize so often on the one-on-one matchups that Bowen tries to scheme in that defense, just as they do for Jeff Simmons, it's a credit to who he is, his work ethic coming as an undrafted rookie free agent. And, you know, he's just about ball, and I think certainly the coaching staff and his teammates respect him for it.
I think a lot of you mentioned Danico being about ball. I think a lot of Titans fans wonder, you know, what is Kyle Phillips about? Because he's such a mystery to them. So, you know, we go to every training camp practice, and we're reporting on this guy, man, his quickness, and he can get from here to there, and he's different from any guy they have. Then he gets hurt, and fans never see him. And we had this stir in the F&M bank chat earlier, like, oh, gosh, please don't put that guy back there to return punts as we started the show, because it sounds like that's what he's going to do on Sunday. But it's interesting that we've seen so much of this guy in practice, but he is very much a mystery to Titans fans.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and I continue to believe, and I understand why. I mean, why would they have any other opinion besides, okay, well, what does this guy do? He hasn't really contributed in meaningful ways to the football team yet on a consistent basis. The Giants game, of course, being the one real example we have of what a difference he can make. And you know, there's nothing he can do about his size, right? How long he lasts in the league, how often he is able to maintain availability in the league is going to continue to be a question for a player that's built that way. His skill set is one that they require, and as you said, they don't have anybody who as effective at finding holes in zone coverage as he is, at finding ways to sit down, about making easy completions for the quarterback, particularly on third and, let's say, 3rd and 6. Kyle Phillips can find 7. Like, he is that kind of player that this offense desperately needs. And honestly, they've been using Spears in that way in a couple of in the absence of Kyle Phillips, not purely in the slot, obviously, but just as a safety valve for the quarterback in the interim. So Tannehill trusts him. Beyond that, I don't want to I don't want to say that Titans fans should implicitly trust him when they have no reason to date, but you know, you hope the guy stays healthy, because I think he's a legitimately good football player. I'm not saying he's going to change your offense or revolutionize your style of play, but you know, maybe you get to 28 points with Kyle Phillips as a part of your offense, as opposed to just hovering in the mid-20s.
Let's don't get crazy here. Buck Reising here, our guest from the Buck Reising Show. 28 points. Are you crazy?
Yeah, right. I hope so.
Crazy.
Aren't the Colts giving up like 25 points a game or something like that?
You know, the defense has been sound in a couple of different areas, but the secondary is what you know, kind of like we talked about, at least in the early going for the Titans, when they were giving up explosive plays. The secondary has not been great. Certainly, Matt Stafford had a day against him. I know he threw an interception, but he played really, really high level football against the Indianapolis Colts, and you know, there are going to be some opportunities to be had there as long as they can just kind of hold up in protection again.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if they're a little vulnerable giving up 25 points. And I don't even think they're really good against the rush statistically. That doesn't mean they'll be – what are they, Mickey?
23rd. They give up 127 rush yards a game.
Yeah, so that leads to a lot of Derrick Henry. And the Titans seem to have their numbers at least the last 5 games. So we shall see how they hold up. They seem as though they're taking for granted like this never happened. Like the 5 in a row with some of these answers. I think Franklin was the linebacker who was having these kind of conversations, which was really weird. So I'm interested to see how this game goes. Do you think the winning and losing will continue home and away with the Titans, or is it really too early to tell?
You know, Lucas looked up his road record. He's 23-20 now, heading into year 6 as an NFL head coach. Now, I don't know off the top of my head how that compares around the league. You know, to win more of your, and it's certainly skewed by last year's result. I think that they are going to have some opportunities to get a few of these games on the road. I don't think they have to win too many of them to win the division specifically. Obviously, the divisional games are critically important here, but, you know, I think you're going to see that fluctuation the way that you have with a lot of teams around the league right now. Titans have been particularly good at home, though, and to be able to capitalize on that continually, especially when you're, I don't want to say robbed of a home game with the London situation, because it's cool to play in London, but for the players and for the coaches and for the operation staff, everybody that puts on or goes into the actual playing of a football game itself, it's not an ideal circumstance. So they have to continue to capitalize at home, and in particular these divisional road games that seem gettable. I mean, it took overtime, but the Rams went in there in the first half and pretty I don't want to say summarily handled the Colts in the first half of that game, but they played good enough football to put themselves in a position to ride out the Anthony Richardson roller coaster that came their way in the second half. He's going to do that again on Sunday. He's going to do that to a lot of different teams. You have to put yourself in position to survive it when it gets there.
I guess last for me, Buck. So, Landry's kind of disappeared in and out. He had the one big play there at the end of one of the games. But do you think that will lead to Travis Gibson, I think is his name, to more reps and maybe more rest for Landry? That way he could be a little more effective with less reps based off of coming off an ACL tear?
I honestly hope so. I mean, the snap count for Harold was lower than average on Sunday against Cincinnati. They obviously didn't need them as much in the second half of that game, and so you saw Gibson get involved. Mike Vrabel said after the game in the press conference with us that dude's going to play more. So I assume that is going to be playing more as they get Harold, more up to speed. Not up to speed is probably the wrong word, but as they manage Harold the way that it probably needs to be managed right now. Like, you used to not have to worry about Harold Landry. And I'm not saying that you have to outright worry about him right now. But you have to make sure that you're putting him in the best position to succeed and to contribute. And coming off the ACL tear, I know it's been over a calendar year at this point, so people are probably impatient. That's all well and good, but we understand what the timelines for ACLs are in reality when it comes to returning to full form, not just physically getting back out there on the football field.
On the way out, any little birdies giving you any idea on timeline for Traylon Burks?
I'm not optimistic based on talking to people this week.
Okay. I'm not even talking about this week, like next week or after the bye week maybe, or
I think that, I know Blaine and I, we were, I guess all of us on the pregame show, we talked about him playing through injury to his credit and needing to take a period of time to not worsen a situation that occurred, not the same injury, not another LCL sprain, but a situation that occurred in practice to the same knee. I think they're going to kind of take it week by week, and right now things not trending in a positive direction for Colts week.
Wow. Debbie Downer rising, ending the show with bad news. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, no. Before we let you go.
Oh, okay.
Who's going to start on the offensive line?
Sunday Dillard.
I said line. He's not the only one to play the line.
Wait. Oh, you mean Skoronski?
Yeah, Skoronski's going to play.
I mean, I'm anticipating that he's available. He's full participant for the first time at practice, and they'll continue to monitor his progress this week out there on the practice field today, and then of course a walkthrough tomorrow. But I'm pretty confident that Peter Skoronski's going to be available this week. No, I bet he start. If he's available, he'll start.
Oh, okay.
You go. Buck Reising breaking it down. Catch him on the install, the Buck Reising Show, A to Z Sports. You can even catch him Sunday morning with us on the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff, starting at 9 o'clock. Thank you, Buck.
See you, boys.
Yes, sir. The one and only Buck Reising. And we return. It's time once again for Feats of Derrick Henry. We have received Feats of Derrick Henry in the mail for the Titans. This time it includes Derrick Henry, Barry Sanders, Terrell Davis, Walter Payton, and more. We'll tell you about it next.
The King lives.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Hey, we had Mike Keith on yesterday, and he talked about this feature, Blaine's Game. And it was Blaine's game in the playoffs.
I thought it was a game that he was saying.
January of 2000. Yes, it was Blaine's game where you hog-tied the Colts for 60 minutes one day, and Eddie ran for a touchdown, and the Titans kept on roaring through the playoffs.
Like an 80-yard run, right?
I was peeing in the bathroom. I was at that game. I was peeing in the bathroom. I couldn't hold it anymore. And I said, I'm going to go to the bathroom, and I know something great's going to happen. You owe me one. Sure enough, as soon as I get to the bathroom.
You did that at the Music City Miracle, too, didn't you?
I didn't pee at the Miracle. My friend wanted to leave. I said, we don't leave.
Oh.
You never know what's going to happen. But I was at both of those games, the Colts playoff game in Indy. I know you were there, too.
Yeah.
We were there.
Special moment for us.
I remember saying at that Indy game, like I got back from peeing, and you were just killing it. And I'm like, I'm going to host a radio show with that guy. Not Eddie George, the other guy, Blaine Bishop.
Eddie George, the Heisman Trophy winner, the all-world Titan player.
Ball State's own Blaine Bishop, right there in your own backyard, getting all your tickets for your friends and family.
You did say that because we were both saying the same thing.
I said that guy
you and Lucas,
who just got his helmet knocked off and then looked at the camera and said, I'm the best. I said, he's talking about he's the best radio host.
Yeah, that's what it was.
He's thinking about like 2023. Yeah. 25 years from now.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah,
25 years later, you knew.
Yeah, it's funny because I never, ever said anything like that until that game. That happened, and I was in a groove, man. I was feeling that, outside the body moment as a player that entire game. And I don't know what it was, but it might have been just because I was at home and saw Father Kelly there, who was my principal at my high school. He worked as a chaplain for the Colts at the time, the late, great Mr. Father Kelly, man. Huge influence and impact in my life. And he said, hey, man, would you have ever thought Woody, which is my nickname, which everybody called me in high school, would be in the National Football League? I said, yeah, Father Kelly, only me and you knew.
Hey, man.
And we laughed because we both knew no one, and not even myself, would have thought, even though I made all city, state, metro, there was no way. There was no way, no how, man. So that's why I said high school is very unpredictable, and recruiting to college, it's tough to determine and how people can escalate, and I continually get better as time goes on. And you don't know. Some guys kind of stalemate once they get to college, and they never really get any better. And then when you get to the pros, it may happen there if you get that kind of opportunity. And for me, man, I continue to get better, and I don't even know how that happened. And I'm going to say this, just on athleticism alone, I'm going to just say this. I could barely dunk in high school, and we're talking senior year.
Me too, but this was on a nerve.
I graduate college.
Yeah.
I'm on 3 intramural championship teams, and they're throwing me alley-oop dunks, and I'm 360 dunking. So my athleticism went from one level to a whole nother level. And all I can say is I put the work in with lifting weights and doing plyo and running indoor track.
Mm-hmm.
And all of it was to help make me a better football player. I didn't win any of the indoor track meets. Matter of fact, I might have got like close to last almost every time. But I thought it was in preparation for me to be faster, more explosive, and those things just started happening, and I didn't even know why, how it actually happened. I mean, like, guys I went to high school, like, dang, man, what happened? Because we go back and play at high school at Cathedral. Like, dang, man, when did you get start jumping like that? Hey, man, I've been doing a lot of power cleans.
They got a leaper machine at Ball State. I've been using it.
So you just never know when someone will peak and then take off. Or have they already peaked with their athleticism? So, yeah, it was really unique.
Derrick Henry, he's still peaking.
Yeah, he peaking with all these records he keeps coming out with, right?
This rascal. We get this a couple times a year before division games. The most rushing yards per divisional game since 1970, which, now is well over 50 years ago. Barry Sanders is number one. He played 76 divisional games and averaged 104.7 yards.
You know what I'm thinking every time when you read off the list? How many of the guys that I played against?
Okay.
So Barry Sanders, I called his last year. It so happened he played the Oilers.
That's
my
insane,
rookie year,
dude.
Which was insane. We'd never changed our whole entire defense to stop one running back but him. We changed the whole entire defense.
Okay.
It was just it
So-
was like this guy.
Derrick Henry second. Only two guys average 100 yards per game in divisional games since 1970 in modern NFL history. Derrick Henry is second. He's 103.6. The next guy is Terrell Davis.
He was injured when he was
Okay.
He was out.
Next guy is Walter Payton. I know there's a no to that.
Definitely not.
Edgerrin James.
Oh, I definitely pay Andrew James. He's probably somewhere in the highlight reel that y'all talking about it because he was there.
He was
starting running
wearing
back.
that blue face mask.
Yeah.
Curtis Martin.
Oh, I've definitely played him when he was with New England and the Jets. He is fast. He was fast.
Emmett
Seriously.
Smith.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I always want to take the Cowboys down.
He played 108 division games. That's so many. Emmitt Smith.
did.
Well, he played forever.
He played forever.
Maybe
All-time leading rusher.
Yeah.
Henry is 39.
Adrian Peterson.
Nope. I watched him.
I know you saw this guy in his big freaking shoulder pads, Jamal Lewis.
Oh, he ran hard, bro. Yeah, there was a couple times I had to make sure I brought my can of make sure I got ready for that. Because them big old pads he had on, shoulder pads, I'm like, man, outside of the field, man, you don't even look big like that, man.
Nope, not at all.
He said, yep, that's to scare people.
That dude.
Dude, one time I hit him with all I got, man. Next thing you know, I'm on his back shoulder, hanging on for dear life. I'm serious now. I hit him with all I got, and I'm on my back upper grabbing on shoestrings and everything I can get to help. And boy, I'm so glad other people came to help me out because I was done. I was like, man, he might have kept on running on this play. He might have broke loose.
Number 10, the one and only O.J. Simpson.
Oh, I definitely see. I didn't ever even see OJ play in pros. He was a little too far ahead.
I did see O.J. play on TV.
Saw a lot of
definitely
highlights,
is not
though.
known for football anymore. But
He was the high-speed racer, wasn't he?
who?
OJ?
The what?
Wasn't he a race car driver?
No.
No, it was a bad joke.
Yeah, I knew what you were trying to do. I knew what you were trying to do. High school race. He's talking about when he, went on the trail. Everybody.
Oh, well, that was a low-speed chase.
Oh,
in
guess
a
where I
white
was?
Ford Bronco.
That just reminded me where I was at. I was in Houston in my apartment by myself, and that was when NBA championship was on. And everybody
Right.
went irate because they interrupted the
to show
the
a Bronco
championship
driving
game,
35 miles
NBA
per hour down the
finals.
interstate with
Yeah.
60
Mhm,
cop
they
cars
were
behind it.
pissed.
I thought they were about to cap the juice that day. They did not, though. We'll cap the first hour of the program and give you the juice in hour number 2, including some real juice from Chelsa Messinger. She'll give you the betting juice. It's coming up.
Oh man.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Boy, this is nice. Jeremy says in the F&M Bank chat, I've been a fan of 104.5 The Zone since the first. Maybe it's the first of this month. Welcome aboard. I have to say the whole 104.5 The Zone team is strong, and there's like a muscle emoji.
Whoa.
He said it's the best sports channel in the world, and not just sports. I mean, where else do you learn about portion control for Thanksgiving, crystal meth, things like that? Just saying no to it. I mean, we don't endorse drug use. We say no to drugs around here.
What was your legendary that went viral? What was that day?
Possums.
Yeah.
Finding a possum in your bed. That got carried in the dog door by your dog and dropped off into bed for you to pet.
What you should do to get it out?
Yeah, you get a big scoop shovel and you yeet that thing out the door. I learned the term yeet from my friend who yeeted it. Do you know what yeet is?
Is that some kind of grass?
No. It's to throw something forcefully.
No, I know.
It sounds
Yeet.
illegal.
Oh, no. If somebody was like, dude, I yeeted last night.
It sounds like it's something.
You guys got any yeet?
If I would have guessed without having that convo.
Did you eat yet? You know, that's actually half of a sentence from Arkansas. Did you eat? No, you yeet something. You throw it forcefully. But I told you that was also a mythical possum. You can find that on, well, it's out there. That story about the possum. But Jeremy, thank you, man. I mean, we're trying to change lives here. That's what we're trying to
have
do.
fun at the same time.
Look, if we're not having fun, who's having fun? It's our job to talk about sports. We're literally just sitting here we like each other, and we're talking about sports to each other. I mean, people have really hard, difficult jobs and lives. And so somebody asked me the other day, like, man, you Blaine, y'all just having fun, man. What's y'all's philosophy? I said, it's I have fun.
Yep, that's it.
That's it. And he goes, seriously? I'm like, yes, that's the philosophy is just when people turn this show on, that they're like, what are these knuckleheads talking about? Oh, man, that's interesting. You know, we catch your attention. Blaine breaks down football better than anybody. I have redneck friends, and I've been supplied with a lifetime of stories to tell and share.
You're a great point guard.
So we, like, it all just kind of meshes together. You know, it just kind of works that way. So
meshes together like mesh together.
Majin says, a possum in the bed, yes. What? In Arkansas? Yes. There was a possum in my friend's bed. Go to @Blaine and Mickey. Well, actually, I don't know if that story's even up. I don't know if it's up on our Instagram. Lucas, we got to remedy that.
Go to 104.5 The Zone YouTube page. Subscribe while you're there.
Okay, thank you.
But yes, in the videos, you will see Mickey's possum story about and how it relates to Andre Dillard.
100%. I tied it back to sports because this is a sports talk show. You know, we don't want the tweets from you guys to say, talk sports. We get those tweets sometimes. Why are y'all talking about that? Talk sports.
We were talking about gravy yesterday and bread and how to get over your coma from Thanksgiving.
But we tied it back to sports because we only are sports 100% of the time. That's it. We never veer from sports.
Yeah,
never.
Just like that possum and Dillard.
Yep, 100%. He just kept getting brought to the quarterback like a dog bringing a possum to its mama.
So what's the difference now? He wasn't brought back to the quarterback this last game. What would you say happened there?
The dog looking for the possum wasn't as big. Myles Garrett's the biggest dog. The biggest dog can wrestle the biggest possum. A smaller dog is a little bit smarter and won't try to carry the possum to mama.
Oh, wow.
See?
Did you see that?
It's like Wild Kingdom. I'm Marlon Perkins up in here, man. I'm just breaking down how the animal kingdom works.
Yeah, man, you would know.
That wasn't this big a dog. A big dog will challenge. Even a little dog sometimes will challenge a possum. The little dog that thinks it's big, but the possum will just knock the you-know-what out of that little dog. And the dog will be like, I realize now that was an error in judgment. I'm not as big as I thought I was. But like a big old farm dog, I'll be like, oh, nope. What did Lorenzo Neal say to Randall Godfrey?
Don't
hey,
run up in here,
Don't
man.
run up in here.
Yeah.
That's a farm dog to a possum. Hey, man, I run this farm.
Did you notice when we had Lorenzo on, when I tried to get him cornered and say what I wanted him to say about Ray Lewis, he refused to say it.
Nope.
Quit politicking about the Hall of Fame, man. Quit politicking. That's what this is about.
Man.
This is what that's about.
Boy, they're gonna put one fullback in there someday. I got to keep my receipts in the drawer for now. Somebody's fullback's gonna go in one day.
Dude.
It has to be him, right?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of really good fullbacks and maybe some a little more versatile.
Yeah.
But he is the best blocking fullback of any era. I'm just telling you. I felt his force when I slipped him a little bit at Tampa Bay when he was with him and Dunn and Allscott. And I felt a little bit of that force. I never told him this. I felt a little bit of that force. I said, that is not a force I've ever felt before. He's got a force, and the force was with him.
It's like Star Wars up
Yeah,
in
it
here
was.
now.
It was with him. Yeah, he had this power that I had never felt. I'm like, ooh, and how can I beat? See, this is where you have to become a thinker in the game, and some guys aren't thinkers.
Right.
They think they up like Randall Godfrey. I've been hitting every other fullback. I'm gonna just keep ramming into him and see what happened. I know I could. No, do not. Just like you said, that possum knew. That dog knew. Mm-hmm. You got to know. I gave him a little spin move, whoo, and I was like, whoa, he barely touched me, and that was painful. Why would I run my little body that time, 210, into him? I was like, no. So then I start giving him all kind of jukes. Oh, he can't hit movement. He can't hit wiggle. Only time he gonna get a chance is if I'm in mano-a-mano and he got to go one-on-one with me. Well, guess what? If I got to do that, I better get to him quick. Real quick.
Right.
So then I set him up. Hit him on the left side, spin move. Hit him on the right side next time. Next time, I'm going to hit you right down the bow.
He said, hey, little buddy.
Boom. And guess what? We still made it.
Oh.
Yep. It helped me out. Yeah.
Ooh,
You heard him say, and I know, and I said, don't be saying that on there. One of the guys that hit him the hardest. Oh, little BB. He said that.
Yep.
That's the first I ever heard him say that. I said him, there's no way, no how I had to get him off balance. He is the strongest human being. And then when he was on our team, to see him pin every offensive lineman, and matter of fact, he'd say, I can get him in 3 minutes. I said, you are full of crap.
He got Bruce, didn't he?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
The living
Got him
legend.
all of them. Tap out. Yep. I was like, uh-oh. This dude is the real deal. And I had already seen him, push a sumo wrestler. He did, yeah, a champion, by the way. He tried to say that they drawed, but there is no draw. We were there together, bro. I saw it. Man, this dude's up there pushing sumo wrestlers, the champions.
Where did you run into a sumo wrestler? Just
No.
happened.
We were at the,
was it like a game in Japan or something?
Yeah. And we were there for Japan. It was something we were there for, and he did it. All I recall. I could not believe it. I was like, this guy.
Did he put on like the leather diaper thing that covered his butt crack?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Lorenzo was all in. No. You need to do your research now.
Oh.
Lorenzo could have been an Olympic wrestler.
You told me that's what he did.
You got to know who you dealing with now.
Yeah, you told me that
this
he was.
Guy, this dude is built on power. You don't take power. Sometimes you say mano-a-mano to power. You say, nah, I got to finesse this power. Yeah, some guys just like, no, I'm running to it. Randall Godfrey ran into him. He put Randall Godfrey. He act like he was punch drunk walking to the sideline. And I'm not playing this game. I'm not dressed. I'm injured. That's what I'm saying. I was injured. I was on the bus. He calls me while I'm driving to the stadium. Lorenzo calls me and says, hey, man, I wanted to let you know.
What kind of cell phone did you have at this point? Like the huge one?
Oh, no. I had
one in a bag?
No, it wasn't that old. I mean, it was Randall Godfrey played with us when we were the Titans.
So like the flip phone or something. Yeah, I got you.
And I'm driving on the bus, the number one bus. He says, hey, man, I like Randall Godfrey. This is Lorenzo. Hey, man, I just wanted you to give him a message. Tell him do not run. This is how he was talking. Real calm. Tell him do not run up in here like he been running in this film or he's going to get hurt. And it was kind of dark. It was like, what? He says, no, Blaine, you tell him, use some explicatives. Do not do that. I like him. But if he runs up in there, today is game day. I will destroy him. And he hung up. Click. Blur. I said, uh-oh. I debated. And then Randall gets on the bus. And I see him. I say, hey, Randall, come here, man. I said, hey, man, we doing a good job, and I'm not playing. So I'm just, chilling out. I got on my regular clothes. I said, hey, man, I just talked to Lorenzo. He just called me. And we're driving. We're about to get off the bus right there at the stadium. Say, hey, man, he said, don't run up in there like you've been doing. He said he like you, so he don't want to hurt you. Randall looked at me like, huh? He said, man, I'm about to give him some of this bulldog love.
Oh.
I looked at him and said, that bulldog ain't ready for that. But I didn't. I just said, hey, man, if I was you, I'd try to hit him, from a side or something. Don't take this bull on straight ahead. So waited till the game, and I'm standing walking up the sideline with my Titan, golf shirt on, watching the game. I saw him take down Donald Mitchell. Boom! One dude down. He punched drunk, walking off. Like, oh, my God. Trainer's running out there. I forgot he got somebody else. Then finally he got Randall Godfrey. Randall Godfrey ran up in and I said, ooh, it was like, like when those two, what do they call them, rams, when they run into each other all the time. And just boom, boom, boom. I thought it was going to be kind of like that. Bam, it's going to be an even draw. He ran up in there, and Lorenzo hit him like I had never seen somebody get hit. That dude started wobbling, went to one knee, and then said, I think I'm knocked out. Dope. No. So they go out there on the field, bring him to the side. So I let it settle down. He got his wits together. Watch this. Randall Godfrey could have confirmed this. Tears in his eyes. I mean, they're coming down. And I said, hey, man, you okay? I mean, I was serious with a heart attack. Nah, this is no play. I said, you okay? He looked at me and said, I don't know no other way. That's all he said. He said, I don't know any other way. And I guess he was referencing, I know no other way but to hit him like I hit him. I told you to take a side, bro. You wouldn't listen to me. I've seen this dude. I was like, He was with the Bengals. That's after he left the Titans. So he had a little bit of edge to him about the Titans letting him go. That he was pissed. He was like, dude, y'all never going to be the same team without me. You see I'm not destroying people? I was like, this is a different Lorenzo. That I knew almost this guy, but this is different when you're on the other side. I was like, oh, my gosh. He hit him, and he had tears running. I literally hugged him and said, hey, man, you'll be okay, man. Just don't go back in.
Somebody get Randall's helmet.
Yeah. No, they weren't going to let him go back in there. But I just like, he might have tried. Yes. He might have wanted to get him back.
Get him, of course. Nobody wants to get God and not get them back.
Let that go, man. It was sometimes it's best to let it go.
Like Kenny Rogers said, know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
Oh, I definitely got my. Everybody gets got. I don't care who you are. You can be the best. You get got. Trust me, I didn't got. Oh my, that is not fun.
Here's who did not get into practice today. Traylon Burks, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Hopkins, Danico Autry, Tierre Tart, and Luke Gifford. Maybe maintenance type days.
And this Tierre Tart stuff is people don't understand, man. He's a really good player.
He is a very good player. And he can get after people right up the middle of the field, too. Okay, we'll get into more of who did and who didn't, but let's get into some money-making stuff with our friend Chelsa Messinger of the Daily Tip next with all of her favorite wagers from this coming week in the sports world. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. You hear that cash register ringing. You know what time it is. Time to chat with Chelsa Messinger of the Daily Tip, host at Chelsa Messinger on Twitter. You can follow her there. She always ends and gives you all the different ways you can consume the show. But Chelsa, we got to discussing this 49 straight days of football. It started yesterday, college or NFL. I watched some of both games, by the way, last night. I will ask you, my pledge to the boys was I'm going to try to watch at least part of every game that comes on for the next 49 days. Will you join me and make a bet on at least one bet on every one of these games for the next 48 days? Are you willing? Are you willing to join my crusade?
48 days. Does it have to be football? Because I'm betting on baseball too.
No, it has to be football. I mean, it has to be.
baseball.
It has to be football because that's the thing. Everybody was tweeting yesterday. It's a magical time because of the way the schedule worked out. There's a college or pro game for the next 49 days in a row. So you've got to skip day one. You didn't have to bet on, Middle and Jacksonville State. What do you say? 48 starting today, 48 straight days of betting football.
That doesn't sound very smart. Here's the thing. I don't want to waste the money that I win betting on baseball or the NFL or whatever and then lose it back on, some game on a Friday night that I've done zero research. Because that's the thing. The number one thing that I was told when I first started doing this, when I worked for a handicapping company, is that you try to narrow your focus as much as possible. Because these people who do it professionally, they pick a lane. They do one conference. They do one sport. Hell, there's even conglomerates that do one single prop. Like I heard from the bookmaker that there is a team of about 55 people that all they do is rebounding props in the NBA. And that's what they do. So it just shows you that your edges are going to be a lot less if you try to spread yourself too thin. For fun, sure, you can bet on whatever you want. But if you're trying to win long term, not a great strategy.
Okay. Well, I'm Mr. Bad Strategy myself, so that fits my profile. You mentioned baseball. Usually we'll start with some football stuff. Just anything kind of standing out to you, tonight's games or futures-wise for these Major League Baseball playoffs?
Yeah, we don't have any games until Saturday because all the wild card
Oh, they got
series
wrapped up,
were
yes.
Sweeps.
Yes.
But I'm sure Braves fans are probably dialed in and feeling a little nervous because no team in baseball looks hotter than the Phillies right now. The good news is you don't have to play them at home, at least in the first game of the series, because the Phillies at home, man, that environment looks crazy in Philadelphia. That offense peaking at the right time. And plus, they've been there, done that before, played in the World Series. Right now, I believe you can get them plus 450. I need to double check that to win the National League. I feel like if there's one of those fringy teams that can, make a run at a World Series again that you get pretty long odds on, yeah, they're plus 375 to win the National League. I like that bet. They don't even have to win the World Series. They just have to win the NLCS. So Phillies plus 375. I know Braves fans don't want to hear it, but still, the Braves only plus 140 to win the National League. No value there.
You go, getting just value right off the top from Chelsa Messinger here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Chelsea, naturally, the Titans play the Colts. How's this game looking from the bettor's perspective?
Oh, God.
I know
boy.
you're all for the Titans, but it's not good, huh? Uh-oh.
Titans have moved from dogs to favorites in this one.
No.
Yes.
Is this true?
Yeah. We're looking at a line that opened as the Colts 1-point favorites at home. Now the Titans laying 2.5. And now it's getting into the territory where I don't feel comfortable playing the Titans anymore.
Ooh.
Because I think Titans fans know this. This game is always tough for us. Look at, was it last year that Matt Ryan was the quarterback and we barely won that game? So it doesn't seem to matter who the quarterback is. We know this is a rivalry game. This one's on the road. So I will be staying far, far away from this game. And also this year, the Titans have been extremely tough to figure out. 1 week, they look like a disaster. The next week, they're beating the brakes off the Bengals. So I know a lot of that was probably because Joe Burrow wasn't 100%, defensive line really feasting on him there. But still, as for now, I think I'm going to stay away from the Titans. We'll have to see if we get a good price on Derrick Henry anytime touchdown. Because he's been a little bit quiet to start the year, we've seen the books post some pretty palatable numbers on his anytime touchdown. Because last year, at one point in the season, it was minus 200. So last week, I think it was even money for him to score a touchdown. So maybe if you believe King Henry is officially back, That is the way to play it. If we can get a good number on Derrick Henry to score a touchdown, maybe that's the way to play it.
When you look at the Titans, they've lost 2 on the road. I know it's still early in the season, but do bettors even look at that maybe they assume that they're just not good on the road, or does that not even play a factor?
I think it depends because this early in the season, a lot of it, you can look at the opponents because not all opponents are created equal.
Yes.
And then you saw the first game of the season. So I think it's too early to tell with that type of stat. Maybe once we get deeper in the season, if they're not playing well on the road. But that doesn't seem like the case for the Titans. Like over the past few years or so, I want to say the numbers for Mike Vrabel on the road, at least as underdogs, have still been pretty good. So I don't think it's a trend to be alarmed at just yet. I think it's more, can we have a steady offense that can produce touchdowns week in and week out is the more, pressing need for fans to be worried about.
Well, Chelsa, we always are excited for your teaser bets. You got any teaser bets, whether it's NFL, college football?
Oh, yes. There's a lot of good teaser legs this week, but some of them, it's like a trend play that just makes me really nervous because the one that really draws my attention is the Steelers. Even straight up, they're getting 4 points against the Ravens this week. And I know, God, the Steelers have been just terrible. And I think we might get Kenny Pickett, who's not 100%. I'd almost rather have Mitch Trubisky. But the numbers in this matchup have been so one-sided towards the underdog. Between the Steelers and the Ravens, the underdog has covered in 11 straight matchups. It's a signature AFC North battle with, the underdogs always playing up to the level of competition. Steelers as underdogs against the Ravens, 11-2-2 against the spread since 2007. So if you put them in a teaser, they're getting 10 points in a game where the total is only 38. So points clearly at a premium. I do like that one. Let's see who else. Jets getting 7.5 on the road at the Broncos. Do we really think the Broncos are going to beat anybody by more than a touchdown? I think not. So that'll probably go in the teaser as well. And then a lot of this depends on what you think of the health of Joe Burrow. Do we think the Bengals can blow out the Cardinals by 10? Not so sure, but eventually we're going to see the Bengals get back on track, I would assume. And then maybe you look for the ugly dog here. This Vikings line has been dropping like a rock. Vikings opened 5.5-point dogs to the Chiefs at home. Now it's all the way down to 3.5. So maybe the value is gone there. But clearly there are some bettors thinking that the Chiefs are not nearly as dominant as some of these spreads are indicating. You throw them in the teaser, Vikings getting 9.5. Maybe that's a good leg as well.
And the biggest game probably based off of name, Cowboys versus 49ers. How do you see this playing?
Yeah.
This is a tough one, and I wish that hook wasn't there. This is what the books try to do to entice you to take the other side.
Okay.
Because I think the Niners, top to bottom, look like the best team in football, bar none. Even though I think the sabotage factor is, if you've watched some of the Niners games, Brock Purdy has almost thrown multiple interceptions.
Definitely.
He's gotten a little lucky and gotten away with some bad throws there. So maybe the Cowboys are the defense that finally shows some cracks in the armor for Brock Purdy there. But still, they don't even have to do too much. They have Christian McCaffrey. They have Deebo Samuel, who can take those little slant passes. Let me tell you, I'm so jealous when they have a 3rd and 17 play. They convert on like a little screen route that, we would never get in a million years. But Deebo Samuel just takes the team on his back. I'll still lay it with the Niners. I do think they're a much better team here. Better defense, way better offense, and especially at home, I'll take the Niners laying the short number, laying 3.5.
Host of the Daily Tip, BetMGM, Chelsa Messinger.
We got, at least from one service, I got an email about all these Taylor Swift props and when would they have their first kiss and would it be before this particular game? And you get involved in any of that kind of stuff?
Ooh, the Swifties.
Oh, no.
No? You avoid the
No.
Swifties?
Even though I'll say this about the Chiefs this week, they have a really easy defensive matchup against the Vikings. That totals 52.5. So maybe if there's a time to play Travis Kelce, it's this week. But his prop's pretty high. That's the problem. Once the sportsbook know that they're going to draw a little bit more action on a certain player, they're going to jack up the prices and they're going to jack up the numbers on all the props. So it's just none of the values there for Travis Kelce. Although against the Vikings, there should be a lot of points. There should be a lot of scoring. So if if you do want to bet on Travis Kelce, this is probably the week to do it because there's supposed to be a lot of points. 52.5 is the total. So go ahead. Won't be me, but, if you want to bet on Taylor Swift's boyfriend, go ahead.
So the Jags and the Bills are in London this week. Are there any things that maybe you look at in these international games because of jet lag, you take unders or something like that, or, because maybe people don't like the food, so you take is there anything that stands out to you for these across the ocean games?
Well, situationally speaking, yes, because we even do this with games that are within the country. Because think about the trip from, say, Miami to Seattle.
Yeah.
It's still a really long trip. And the thing about the Jags is that they should be comfortable playing in London by now. Feels like they play there every year. Played there last week. They've already had a week extra to get ready for the time change, for the body clock. And the thing about the Jags, it just feels like they haven't really reached their potential too much just yet. So I'm going to take the Jags plus 5.5. I know the Bills have, over the last 3 weeks, looked like the most complete team in football. But still, I think the Jags, that offense has to come to life at some point. And plus, it's just kind of a wonky situation where the Bills, it says they're the home team, but they're playing in London. I'll take the Jags. It feels like a home game for them. They play in London so much. I'll take the 5.5 with Jacksonville there.
I think that someday, this has nothing to do with gambling. I think it's someday the NFL is just going to take the Jags and put them in London and change their name to the Guard, and they'll have red jerseys and just solid black helmets, and they'll look like those Palace Guards. Don't you think that would be awesome? The London Guard.
Oh, it does feel like they're trying to test it out. It's like a soft launch. It's like, well, we're putting the Jags in London every year, and we'll see how they handle it.
Yeah.
Because I've heard they actually have a lot of fans over there. Surprisingly.
They know them by name. They see them at local stores and stuff. They're over so much.
Right. So I don't feel great going against the Bills because, like I said, man, they've looked good. Even though I do think it's an overreaction that Josh Allen has shifted to the front of the pack for the MVP race. He's plus 350 now. I still think maybe he has a turnover problem in some of these big games. And I still think Tua Tagovailoa can pad his stats. Throughout the season. So I think maybe now's the time to buy low on Tua. He's 5-1 to win the MVP, and not the time to buy in on Josh Allen.
You should always buy in on Chelsa Messinger in the Daily Tip because you're always going to learn something.
Well, yes, and I'm going to make a left turn here to college football, and seems like this is a competitive game here with in the SEC, and that's Missouri at 21 versus 23 LSU. How do you see it playing out?
Does anybody want to trust LSU's defense? I don't. I'll take the home dog here. I'll take Mizzou plus 4.5. Seems like a generous number here. And plus, this one's gone down. It was 5.5. We're seeing some money on the Missouri Tigers. I was thinking to myself, these are both the Tigers, so you have to pronounce one differently. I don't know what a Missouri accent entails, but maybe you have to say that as opposed to the LSU Tigers who go Tigers. Right. Yeah. So I don't know how to say it in the Missouri accent, but yeah, I'll be taking Missouri here. I think LSU's defense will present them a good enough opportunity to at least cover this game. And plus the fact they're at home, an SEC game. Yeah. Let's go Missouri Tigers.
The Red River rivalry, Oklahoma at Texas, 2 teams that will be in the SEC next year.
I hate taking favorites in rivalry games, but it still feels like Texas is the play just because their defense has been so good. I think they're miles ahead of anybody that Oklahoma has faced because you've seen some crooked numbers from this Oklahoma offense that Dylan Gabriel and company have really lit up the scoreboard. But the problem is they have not faced anybody like Texas, one of the best defenses in the entire country. And plus, they'll be up for this one. It's a rivalry matchup. So I think top to bottom, Texas is still the better team. And plus some good injury news. It looks like their star tight end, Jatavian Sanders, looks like he's going to play for this one as well. It really depends on what you believe Oklahoma is this year because the problem is they just haven't really played anybody that's that tough. So, yes, their offense looks amazing. But, again, they have not played a great defense just yet. So I'll take the short number here, lay the 5.5 with Texas.
Well, we got 2 other SEC games, but I'll ask you about this one, the Kentucky versus Georgia at Georgia.
This one almost feels like a square dog play where everybody and their mom's going to be on Kentucky because, they're undefeated. And plus, Georgia has not covered a single spread this year. So, like, maybe that's the play, but I just have a bad feeling about it. Georgia hasn't really been nearly as dominant as they have been in years past. I know that's kind of been the talk if you go for a macro look at college football right now. So I would lean towards the 14.5, but sometimes you got to be careful. Like I said, when the books give you a number that looks almost too good to be true, sometimes it is. So the 14.5, it looks really nice on paper, and I think that's probably the way to go. But something makes me feel that maybe I should stay away.
Well, if people don't want to stay away from the daily tip, Chelsea, tell them how to consume that on the daily so they know all the latest from you and your partner on there.
Yeah, just find me on Twitter at Chelsa Messinger, or just search the daily tip wherever you get your podcast. And one play for the way out, Thursday Night Football, Sam Howell over his rushing prop, 13.5 yards. He just ran 6 times for 40 against the Eagles. I think that trend continues.
Well, I heard you say in one of your tips, you said it's a prop you can get in one play, right? He can get one carry. I took Tannehill over 6.5 rushing last week for Mickey's Moneymakers, and he had a 7-yard run in the first quarter, and then it just rained money on me after that.
Oh, yes. It's always great when it rains money on you, right? But Sam Howell has gotten this in one rush in each of the last 2 games. He ran for over 800 yards in college. He's a shifty guy. So as somebody who's not played that many games in the NFL, I still think he has that, like, rookie quarterback tendency to kind of panic a little bit if he sees the first sign of trouble. So we'll go with that and hope he rushes for more than 14 yards in tonight's stinker of a game between the Commanders and the Bears.
I'll still watch it. I'll be so happy watching it just because I'm sick like that. Chelsea, thank you. Always great catching up with you. You're the best.
The Bears.
Thanks for having me.
All right. We leave Chelsea and her numbers for this. In the 70s, there was a show called 8 is Enough. When we come back, I'm going to ask the hitman in a context, is 3 enough? I will explain next.
No.
No. Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. 8 is enough. That was a TV show in the 70s. Blaine and Lucas were too young to remember that, but I remember it.
8 is enough.
There's 3 games of tape on Anthony Richardson.
Ooh.
3 games of tape. Like Blaine Bishop, safety Blaine Bishop. Is 3 games of tape enough? Or would Blaine Bishop have said, I'm going to go ahead and get some of those 13 games at Florida, too, from last year?
No. I'm doing 3 games and preseason.
Okay.
Hopefully he played in those. But the caveat to me is Jonathan Taylor's not on those tapes.
He is not.
So to me, now you have 2 runners.
Mm-hmm.
So you better have your responsibilities down. And what I would do is I would go back and watch when the head coach, who Steichen, is that his name?
Yep.
Was the OC at Philadelphia when he implemented all the passing and running games for Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of when they took off, when he became the starter. That's what I would probably do. Because they're somewhat similar skill sets in Hurts and him, in that they are runners and they can throw the football. So that's probably how I would approach it, just off the cuff. Yeah, I had no idea you was going to ask me that. That's what I would do.
I like to keep you guessing.
Because the offense they run, you would think it's going to be somewhat similar to that. So he's a scary looking player, though, if you watch what he's done, because you can see actually the potential, how good he can be. You see it. If he can get it consistently, sooner than later, man, he's going to be a fabulous player. I'm serious now. And he was number 1 guy on my board, but fortunately he's with the Colts, so I want him to go down. They're going to have to be sure tacklers. He's a runner. And one thing about him, though, is different than, like, let's say Watson. Mm-hmm. You know, he's a better runner than Watson. Watson's still trying to throw the ball.
Right.
Oh, when this guy takes off, you better tackle him like he's Steve McNair. You better go after him. Like you tackling Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, he's running, he's strong, and he's fast. So that's kind of how I would approach him. I would try to disguise some things, try to make a little bit confusion for him, hesitate, so we can let our big guys get after him. But, man, you just don't want him to get into a rhythm and get to rolling. And you want to keep having him little doubt in his mind out there a little bit when he's in the passing game. I think that's where you can get him. I think the Titans can get him. If they don't get him that way, man, it's going to be a tough game all the way down to the end.
You mentioned Deshaun Watson.
Who he broke tackles, but I still believe he's trying to look to throw, and he'll run, and he's capable, but he's not like a runner. Like, oh man, you go into the game, he's gonna run the ball.
It's more like Russell Wilson. I'll run around with my eyes down the field while I'm running around.
And if nobody's open, I can run.
And Watson's just big enough. Like Arden Key and Jeff hit him and just
couldn't believe how he
fell away.
He shook him off. I couldn't believe that. I was stunned. I knew he was a strong guy, but not like that. Like Richardson, you can see he's a strong guy. And the one thing is he's out there running. I mean, he's got knocked out of games and things. I don't think he understands in the NFL. You can't keep doing that over a long period of time. So I'm interested to see if they coach that out of him or they just let him keep going about his way like that. Because, the Titans may be able to get him. Because he runs. I mean, you better tackle him like he's Derrick Henry. I'm serious now. Are you going to get embarrassed? Sharp guy, though, man. In between the years for a young player, quarterback, only 4 games in, man. Got to be impressed. Future looks bright for him, man. They better get him now. Like
Deion said, this is as bad as I'm ever going to be. You better get me now.
Yeah, that's what Yep.
Do you like that mental game, especially with a rookie quarterback, of let's try to confuse this rascal a little bit?
I do. Especially if you show him stuff that's not on film, but it looks like it's what you showed on film.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And the Titans do a great job of that on defense. And, sometimes I get confused. I have to go back and watch the all 22 sometime. And it's like, man, what were they doing? Man, this is some fascinating different things that they do in the passing game and depth. And, man, sometimes it looks like they're playing 3 safeties. Guys running from the slot, and they got half field. Like, dang, man, he moved. He was at 7 yards, like he was playing zone curl flat. Nope, he had deep half, deep third. Like, I would have been tricked if I was a quarterback. So you have to study film on these guys, and they may bring some new element that they haven't shown to get them. And I guarantee you they will because they know he's a young quarterback. Got to have it in the repertoire. If it's not, then you're a ding-dong.
Well, I mean, again, you have 3 games of his film, but that means he's only played in 3 NFL games. So there's a possibility just every week that people can throw things at him that it's something he's never seen before.
Yeah. And what you want to take away that first read and make him hold on to it and then start, reaching. Then he'll make a mistake.
Yeah.
Pat. Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. And hopefully your front gets there. I wasn't impressed with their D-line. O-line's kind of banged up. They're just okay. They're not like the typical, Colts team, but they're always going to get up for the Titans. You got to know this. They're going to play their best. Every time we say, oh, they're not doing well on defense, then, they do halfway decent, holding King in check. If you want to give it that. I mean, he's, just not running around on them like they're the Texans. I mean, so, hey, man. But you know what? On offense, I think the King is going to be a major factor again. I do.
Well, we went into those numbers earlier. He is the second highest total per game against division opponents in NFL history, only behind the great Barry Sanders. It's Barry Sanders, and then it's Derrick Henry. We went through the list earlier, and it's like a bunch of Hall of Famers are going to be Hall of Famers. And Blaine had to chase around several of those dudes. Not O.J. Simpson and Walter Payton, but a few of the others.
Yeah, I got one shot.
It's time for us to chase ourselves away and to turn things over to 3HL. They got you the rest of the way home today. We'll have lots more Titans talk tomorrow. George Brimmer will join us with the Indy perspective, and we'll also call our shot. So just come on back tomorrow, too.
But in the meantime.
In between time.
Peace.